Hello. Hi, guys. Steven here, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the current state of the wrestling business right now. Well, I want to talk a bit about just my thoughts on how, basically just I feel that really that, WWE really just does suck right now, and it really is, a shame. You know, I'm someone who, I mean, I'm 30 years old, and, I've been watching wrestling since about 2000, so that, it's 21 years now I've been a fan of wrestling. And it really, to me, I'm talking about WWE specifically, it just sucks, man. It's just shit. And, and this, I'll label it, a rant, but I'll try and, speak a little bit more, eloquently. But, it's just shit, you know? And yeah, but let's go back though. I mean, let's go back to when wrestling was good. You know, let's go back to the Attitude Era. um, and let's go back to those years. Let's go back. Hell, let's go back to 1998 when you had. That's really after WrestleMania 14. That's when I guess the Attitude Era officially started. You know, the Austin Era had begun. As Jr. said, and that's when the ratings were really I think it was just a few weeks after WrestleMania 14. That's when they started overtaking Nitro in the ratings that did Monday Night Raw, and that's really when the business was at an all time high. When it came to the quality of WCW. WCW was still very strong. WWF was just shit hot at the time, and then ECW was still doing okay. Maybe probably 1997 was their best year in terms of quality, but 1998 they were doing well. They were all right, and then you come into 1999, and then still business is booming, ratings are sky high, and now at this point, The Rock is a star, a huge star, and it's not just Austin. It's not just suddenly all about Austin. It's Rock and Austin, and and I suppose a lot of people could make the argument that 1999 was the best year in wrestling. Let's be honest. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the Raw, the highest rated Raw ever. I think's the one with. And it's funny when you say and it's a match. One of the highest rated segments on a Raw in '99. It was the Mean Street Posse versus Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. And those guys, they came out to Hulk Hogan's old song, Real American. And that was one of the highest rated segments ever. Now, a lot of wrestling fans on the internet will crap all over Vince Russo for a lot of his booking and a lot of, the whole, Pinata on a pole, Viagra on a pole, Judy Bagwell on a pole. Well, she was actually on a forklift, but a lot of this wacky shit. David Arquette. Or the Bash at the Beach incident. Even I don't know, but Russo though really deserves a hell of a lot more credit. Russo got it. Russo understood that things needed to change in the wrestling business, and wrestling needed to become cool. It needed to be cool. you know, and and the thing for me is, I became a fan at probably about, it was either late '99 or early 2000, or maybe a little bit after that. And at this point, because wrestling was so popular, channel it was Channel 5. They started showing WCW. I mean, it was the program WCW Mayhem, 1 hour. Then a couple months after that, on on Channel 4, they started airing Sunday Night Heat. This is just a reflection of how popular wrestling was getting. Now it's going to be on. It was going to be aired on two of the five main channels. on terrestrial TV. You know, and that's a big thing back then because not everybody had Sky. You know, it was still a big thing. You know, to have, you know, 5 channels, and with the ratings and with how high the ratings used to be on the soaps like EastEnders and Coronation Street and what have you. But you know, yeah, I mean, I became a fan. I think it was either around then, and it might have been WCW that I started watching initially. But I didn't fully get hooked though until probably summer of 2000. And I can remember kids at school at the time talking about WWF, and Triple H always seemed to be the name I remember that kids would talk about. Even more so than The Rock, you know, and Triple H, I think he must have been the champion at the time, and that might have been going into the, you know, the King of the Ring pay per view. I think when Rock won, and there was that 6 man tag. But anyway, I can specifically remember I was on holiday, with my family. We were in the Isle of Man. It was the summer of 2000, and then it was a Friday because Raws were on the Friday in Sky Sports, and it was late at night, and I saw Raw, and I think I pretty much saw the whole 2 hours, the whole episode, and at that point I was hooked. I was hooked as a fan, and just certain things, and you know, and overall, yeah, entertaining show. I think the main event, I think it was like Kurt Angle and Rock in the main event, and I think there was something went down with Shane, and he got sided with the Big Show, and there was kind of like a screw, kind of like him and Show and Angle ended up being a faction. It didn't last long, the conspiracy or call it whatever. But at that point, you know, and I saw the SmackDown as well the day after on the Saturday. At that point, I was hooked as a fan, and at that point, I mean, you know, go back to school and that's it. All the time you're talking about wrestling with your friends. You're talking about The Rock this, The Rock that, Stone Cold this, Stone Cold that, Undertaker this, Undertaker that. And that was the cool thing. And this is the thing about wrestling back then. All the cool kids liked wrestling at school. All the cool kids. The nerds didn't watch it. They just weren't into it.